We have a brand new update tonight on a deadly double shooting that happened last month. We now know the names of the two people who were shot at an Okolona apartment complex in Louisville. The Jefferson County Coroner's Office identifies the two men shot as 18-year-old Marion Caldwell IV and 20-year-old Kavion Faulkner. LMPD officers found the two men from several gunshot wounds.
In today's time, it is getting to a point where it can be hard to know who to trust. From the people you love and believe they love you, to you're supposed to be friends that are really jealous of you and might be plotting behind your back. It is not always the ones you call your enemies or foes that want to see your downfall. And sometimes it's the people closest to you and in your home. On September 29, 2025, two young men, both cousins and full of life, were unalived inside of one of their homes. When everything took place, no one could understand what happened for them to be targeted and shot down. There was no forced entry into the apartment, and it did not appear to be a break-in or a robbery. Just two people gone, and for what reason, only time would tell. However, in the months after their unaliving, police were able to make an arrest, and it wasn't some random stranger. It was one of the victims' roommates and somebody they trusted. But turns out she put together a sinister plan to allegedly backdoor the two. Now, as far as the motive, it is not really clear, but more disturbing details will come out at her initial court appearance, and making it more clear that the two young men lost their lives for absolutely no reason. 18-year-old Marion Richard Caldwell IV and 19-year-old Kavion Faulkner were identified as the two young men who tragically didn't get a chance to even live life because of 22-year-old Jasmine Brown, who allegedly set them up to be unalive. However, she did not act alone, and according to authorities, she appeared to be taking orders from her boyfriend, who is behind bars. And now 20-year-old Clifton Jones, who is also the godbrother of 19-year-old Kavion, was arrested back in 2019 for the unaliving of a man by the name of Tyrese Garvin. At that time the crime took place, he was only 14 years of age and had two other co-defendants that were in their teens too. 20-year-old Tyrese Garvin had just become a new father when his life was cut short for no reason.
3 teenagers are now charged as adults in the murder of a Louisville father. 17-year-old Sadell Richardson Jr., 14-year-old Clifton Jones Jr., and 14-year-old Deshaun Garrison were in court this afternoon. They each pleaded not guilty to murder and other charges. 20-year-old Tyrese Garvin was shot back in June after leaving University Hospital, where he was visiting his newborn twins. Police believe the drive-by was a random act of violence.
One would think that after being arrested and charged with manslaughter, that you will want to get your life in line so you can get out one day and be a productive citizen of society. However, it appears that Clifton Jones may have had other plans. He was allegedly calling shots from behind bars and somehow, someway, ended up in a relationship with 22-year-old Jasmine Brown. But remember, he's been behind bars since the age of 14. Now, according to authorities, jail phone calls between Jasmine and Clifton will lay out the play-by-play of what led up to the tragedy that took the lives of the two cousins. Not only that, a key witness will come forward with important information that will help put the nail in the coffin for Jasmine and allegedly 2 or 3 other suspects that were involved. It all unfolded in Okolona, Kentucky, a southern suburb of the bigger Louisville metropolitan area. The Falcon Crest Apartments, just right off the 65 and on the 900 block of Napa Valley Court, is where the crime took place. When law officials were alerted of shots fired, they would come to the apartment, and that's where they would find the two people that had been shot and unalived while they were sleeping. At the time the crime took place, Jasmine was not in the apartment and had left that morning to go to a friend's place to help babysit. After the crime went down, that same day she coincidentally popped up back at the home just in time when authorities were there to say she lived there and asked what happened inside the apartment. It would take investigators almost a month to put all the pieces together, which ended up leading directly to Jasmine Brown. Even with her arrest, she wasn't the one who allegedly pulled the trigger, and according to her friend whose house she was at that day, she saw Jasmine on a FaceTime call with masked men, letting them know that the door will be unlocked, and Jasmine allegedly told her friend that she was going to hear about some stuff on the news later that day. These details will come out in court, as well as the connection of Clifton Jones to Jasmine and their conversations on jail calls that led her to do the unthinkable. From the information gathered, it appears that Clifton was upset with one of the young men and decided that he didn't want them no longer on this earth right after he received his 8-year deal for his manslaughter case that started in 2019. With all the years that had passed since he was arrested, he was only sentenced in July 2025, and by September, he allegedly had the ball rolling to have his girlfriend set up his own godbrother and his cousin.
Louisville man admits to his role in a deadly drive-by shooting. Clifton Jones Jr. pleaded guilty today to manslaughter and several other charges. Jones was sentenced to 8 years in prison. 2 other men are also charged in the case. Sidell Richardson Jr. is awaiting sentencing as part of a plea deal, while Deshaun Garrison will be back in court in September.
Now, according to investigators, the jailhouse conversations and planning started on September 13, 2025, all the way up until the date that the crime took place on September 29th. In one call on September 13th, Jasmine is heard saying she was getting ready to backdoor them. On September 19th, detectives say Jasmine shared lyrics of a song, Green Lightning, the victims. The same day, she also mentioned getting things out of the apartment, and later detectives discovered she was referring to a gun, making sure that there was no way that the 2 teens could protect themselves when the armed bandits walked into the apartment. Police believe the shooting was supposed to happen on September 19th based on Jasmine's phone conversations, but the date was moved back to the next week. The evidence that appears to be stacking up against her is mind-boggling, and her attorney was in court trying to fight to get her bond lowered, expressing that Jasmine had a child that she wanted to get back home to.
It's here at the 800 building in downtown where detectives say Jasmine Brown was helping her friend with her baby during the double murders that were taking place at her home in Okolona. They say while she did not pull the trigger, they believe she played a big role in setting up the murders.
She said that my house is getting ready to be on the news.
22-year-old Jasmine Brown was in court Thursday. She's accused of helping plan the murders of Marion Caldwell and Kavion Faulkner at her Falcon Crest apartment in Okolona. Homicide detective Brad Russell testified witnesses tie Brown to the murders.
She saw 2 males that had ski mask on in the FaceTime call. And then at the end of the conversation, she heard Miss Brown say, "They're asleep, the door is unlocked. Go ahead and go on in."
He also says a series of jail phone calls also linked Brown to the case. Those calls are between Brown and her boyfriend Clifton Jones, who's locked up on a manslaughter charge. In a call on September 13th,
she stated to Mr. Jones, Miss Brown did, she doesn't love them like that. She's not going to risk what she's getting ready to have done to them. And then stated, if I love them like that, I wouldn't be getting ready to backdoor them.
Brown attorneys, however, argued she was manipulated. She also argued to have Brown's bond reduced.
Judge, as a mother, all she wants to do is get home to her child.
But the judge kept bond at $1 million and sent Brown's case to the grand jury.
If Jasmine loved her child so much, she should have never put herself in a position where she would lose all rights of being a mother. She should have thought about her child before she had that conversation to set up a play that took the lives of 2 innocent people that didn't deserve it whatsoever. As of right now, Clifton has a parole eligibility date of November 3rd, 2027. And if he doesn't get that, with good time, he could get out on March 9th, 2028. And his maximum out of date is October 29th, 2030. I hope and pray that the court resentence him, because it appears if they let him out in 5 more years or less, he will most likely do something even more heinous than what he has already done in the 2019 case and orchestrated in 2025. He clearly has not gained anything or learned anything to better himself, or feels any remorse to be setting up this type of play while already behind bars for taking a life. This crime would unfortunately open up old wounds though, because 4 years back, Marion Caldwell's father, who he is named after, was also gunned down in the month of September in 2021. Marion Richard Caldwell IV was Marion Richard Caldwell III's first son, and he was so proud of the young man he was growing up to be, and I'm sure he is rolling over in his grave knowing that his son became the victim of a gun crime too. He and his cousin Kavion always enjoyed hanging out and playing their gaming systems, and had been doing it since before time.
Oh shoot, help me out! Ah, come on, you made us lost. Let's just beat up the rest first of all. And first of all, hey, take me. Oh, take me, dog. Oh, it's you! That's how he feels! That's how he feels. Come on, that's how he feels. Oh, really? Oh my God, that's how he feels. Is that how he feels? Come on, he can't feel that, can he? Hey, get out, get out. I got him. I got him, get out. Shoot. See if this guy can feel this. Boom, boy. Oh, boy, you see it?
That is also what they were doing when Kavion came over to hang with his cousin that September night in 2025. But sadly, they never woke up to see that next day because they were unalive in their sleep that next morning. Both teens had recently graduated and were just living life, doing the right thing, when their lives were stolen from them, and it's not okay. This case has not even begun to fully unfold, and there are still people that need to be found and locked up, and the community does not want multiple suspects who have committed such a crime on the loose. My thoughts and prayers go out to this family in this very difficult time, and I pray that full justice will be served for every person involved. Don't forget to let me know your thoughts. Also, don't forget to pray for this family in their difficult time, and hit that like button and share to make your people aware. And as always, remember to stay woke. Things change quickly.